Yeah, we're late. We know. We're aware. We had some difficulties, and there's two of us, so it's part of the difficulties. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to another live episode of That Helps No One Fantasy Cast on Area 51 Sports Network. What are we calling it? Sports Network? I don't know. Like, it's a network.
Area 51 Network.
Area 51 Network, all spooky stuff going on tonight. It's the case of the Mundt-days, as this episode is called. Hint to later on in the show. We want to welcome everybody. Make sure that you follow our show. That helps No One Fantasy Cast on Twitter, on our YouTube page. Comment along if you're watching and you have some fantasy questions and you actually think we are going to solve those questions for you. We'd love it if you...
We will solve those for you.
We will solve them. We've done it, and we'll do it again.
Done it as early as last week.
Yeah, that's true.
A little bit.
Man, I tell you, like, that's something you got to live off of. That's something you got to live off.
I have this saying: whenever I do something impressive, I like to, what is it? Under promise, over deliver. Right? Classic. You gotta promise little things, and you deliver the big ones. So I always say, you know what? Sometimes you're going to shoot blindfold into the dark and you're going to hit your target. And that's where I was at.
Don't actually do that. Like in real life, folks, don't shoot blindfolded. And it's not good.
Very unsafe.
Fantasy wise, for football purposes,
shoot blindfolded.
This was your best. I'm sorry. I actually should have had a clip ready from last week. I'll make sure that I clip it and post it so that we have proof. Because, I mean, just go and say the thing. Say the thing. What are we even talking about here?
Well, what receipts? Is that?
Yeah,
is that the word?
I mean, just last week about this time, I believe you got a receipt for a certain 49ers receiver. I
think his name is Juwan Jennings. I don't know if you pronounce it like that. How did he do this weekend? I haven't really been following this football thing.
I think after the first 2 touchdowns that he scored, I stopped paying attention because I had baseball, and which you weren't there, and that's fine. But then I think it was the 3rd touchdown that he scored, and I realized that you yourself had a day as a recommendation to go and start said player, Juwan Jennings.
Yeah, you know what? That's a classic example of, I mean, if you had the clip, it would make me look worse. So I'm glad you didn't come prepared, because I think I said 6 to 10 points. Put him as a starter. 6 to 10 points. So when
you got 6 to 10 points every time he got the ball.
Wide receiver 1, 85% of the snaps, which is the reason why I said to start him, because he's going to have upside potential. 12 targets, 11 receptions, 175 yards, and 3 touchdowns. It's what dreams are made of, everyone.
This is why you watch the show. This is why we do this, because, I mean, folks, I told you to go pick up Puka last year. That worked out really well for me. This is on a whole other level. Because now you've got a proven target. And if McCaffrey gets back from Germany, if George Kittle comes back, if Deebo Samuel comes back, they just added a Ricky Pearsall. They just added another weapon to an already redonkulous It's it sucks. And now you get to gloat on it. So congratulations to you, Steve. I'm impressed, buddy. That was awesome.
And you know what? It just goes to show in fantasy football, when we have things like injuries, there's a reason why. I can't remember what his first name. I want to say Carson Steele, but I don't know if that's his first name.
Right.
Rookie from Kansas City. There's a reason why a lot of people spent their entire fab waiver budget, whatever you want to call it, on him, because it's opportunity arises. You have a guy in a high-powered offense like the 49ers. And
Carson. You got it.
Is Carson, yeah. In the case of Jawan Jennings, like that's a Shanahan offense where they like throwing the ball. They like getting the ball out of Purdy's hands quickly, give the player opportunity, let them do what they can do. Carson Steele, same thing. It was why you ended up drafting Kareem Hunt first overall that year, and everyone was like, "Oh,
what are you doing?" Yeah,
that was a wild off the board pick, but it's an Andy Reid offense where they like to punch the ball in with running backs. They like to let their running backs utilize in all situations, right? When he finds a bell cow, he wants to use that guy all the time. Yeah. Checo goes out, you got your person kind of in. So it sucks when injuries happen because I always kind of feel for the player and their livelihood, and this is their business, is their body. Yeah. But you really have to stay up on those things. And I mean, a good example, and I'll throw myself under the bus here because we've all done this as well. You forget to really read the entire injury report. Yeah. And so in my 4-sport league, I'm doing terrible, and I probably won't make the playoffs because I didn't have very many picks. But one person I did pick up who I did not start this weekend because I wasn't paying attention and being stupid, Charbonnet.
For the Seahawks. He had a great game. Yeah.
He had a great game. It was one of those ones where I forgot to look to see every injury person. I looked and I was like, oh, Charbonnet is healthy, but like I've got some other guys that I, might want to start before then. And then he has a great game because he is the RB1.
Yeah. And in that kind of an offense, Seattle likes to run the ball when they've got, they always like to run the ball, but whether it's Kenneth Walker, whether it's Charbonnet, whether it's been whoever they've had, they've always made sure that they featured it back until they don't. You know what I mean?
And you know what? Like, it was the difference between me winning the week and me losing the week because he had in this league 24.2 points. My flex spot, I put Isaiah Likely. Okay. He's got some upside potential. He got 0.9 points. So I lost out on about 24 points.
So did Mark.
I only lost the matchup by 12 points. So it's one of those things where you have to be on top of it all the time. And that's why we love it. And that's why wives and partners usually dislike us being part of so many fantasy football leagues or just fantasy sports leagues in general.
I still love, speaking of tight ends, I still love this pickup. This was my second daughter was born and was watching. It was the I think it was the Vic Philly game against Washington when him and Deshaun just like went off that game.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm sitting there in the cafeteria watching. Think she had whatchamacallit, what's the big needle? Anyway. So she was resting. The epidural, yeah. So I'm just chilling, eating dinner. Hadn't had the kid yet. Watching the game. Came back. Had the kid a little bit later in the night. All good. But it was Monday night, and I was about to get Julius Thomas at 7 a.m. the next morning. I thought I slept through the waiver wire, and because it was like a first, you had to bid on your. We'll let him get set up here. You had to bid on basically hey buddy, on your thing. So Julius Thomas, I added him for 7 a.m. in the morning and then went on a run that season. I'm like, I have the best freaking tight end because Manning and him were just, it was perfect. So yeah, you got to be on those things, but it's such a good feeling when you get it right. That's for sure. We've all added guys off the waiver wire and free agency. And, most of the time you're filling a spot, you move on. But when you hit, you tell everybody, you sing it from the top of a mountain.
Well, because usually when you hit on stuff like that, and, we've all missed on it way more times than we've hit, you'll throw all your fab dollars at that one guy, and it's usually before week 5. I haven't found that guy to throw it all at yet. Maybe Jordan Mason was this year's guy to throw it all at.
I did in the other league because I had McCaffrey, and everyone's like, are you crazy? I'm like, no, because we're getting rid of our rosters after this year, and I need to still be relevant after week 1. So,
right. So we've all missed or failed to like say, that's gonna be the guy. But when you hit that guy, like in our league last year, I hit it with Kyron Williams, right? Chris was talking about,
he had an okay day too.
Yeah, Chris was talking about him preseason. Early on in the season, I was like, you know what? This is the guy that I'm gonna just throw it all at. If I hit, awesome. If I don't, that's what, in my opinion, that's what your fab dollars are for, is to hit that keeper level, that next level kind of guy. I mean, right. Ended up packaging him and a couple other picks to swap for AJ Brown. So like, that's what, in my opinion, that's what you use your fab dollars for. And when you hit on those guys, man, it's like a season changer for you, right?
Oh, it is. It's next level. So we got a couple things. Welcome to the show, Matt. Good to see you, buddy. He's on mute.
Thanks, guys.
Hey, no problem. Just glad to have you. It was a weird week 3. So the Giants won, the Panthers won. We'll get to that a little bit later. And McDaniels has a perm in Seattle. Apparently, did you see that? Like it looks like Mike McDaniel's got like a perm for his hair. Like it looks like
Dolphins head coach Mike McDaniel.
Yeah. Like so because they're playing Seattle, and I'm like, oh man, are they playing in Miami? Like it looks super humid. He's got like this perm, and then I look, I'm like, they're in Seattle. I'm like, bro, is that a perm? So apparently,
it rains a lot. Maybe he'd like straightened his hair, and like it rains out all the time in Seattle. And he's like, oh man, it's gonna look like I have a perm for the TV.
Yeah, so things are different for the Dolphins, but interesting stuff. And then, what's up with the Bengals? Like, what are we doing here? Are the Bengals a bad team this year, or are they just not able to finish? Like, they're playing well, they're scoring tons of points, but they're 0-3. Like, what is going on? And I'm going to ask. I mean, Matt seems to know everything about the game of football, so he would be the guy I'm going to ask first. Matt, like, what's little? Okay, so not a whole lot.
Average. I know average amount.
You know an average amount. So, like, what's going on with the Bengals?
Their defense sucks. And their red zone sucks.
That's good. Okay.
You can score 100 points a game, but if you let 101 get scored against you, and their defense got walked and thrown and ran over. Like maybe Washington is good, but I still don't think they're that good. They should not have been able to that easily park the Bengals all game long.
Yeah, like week 4.
Sorry, say that again.
I was going to say, are you taking Cincinnati week 4? Can't even remember who they play this week.
Well, I mean, they have the Panthers, so like as much as the Panthers won 1 week, the Bengals are on the road against the Panthers. I'll still take the Bengals all day on that one. So being somebody who follows EFC North football quite frequently, the Bengals are a little bit of a weird anomaly because, like, if you just watched last week against the Commanders, you'd be like, the defense sucks. But then you go back the week before, and they're playing the Chiefs. So, like, you put up, what was it, like 25 points because they lost the game by 1 point. Offense put up a reasonable amount on a Chiefs defense that's pretty stout. Didn't let a lot of points against a Mahomes-led offense. But then you go back week 1, and it's like this exact opposite week. So like week 1, they had the Patriots, and they could only put up 10 points against the Patriots. And their defense only allowed 16 points. I mean, the Patriots aren't that great of an offense, but like, so their offense sucked. Then it was like a pretty respectable game against a stout opponent. And then they went the exact opposite way where they were like, okay, the offense has got it figured out, but now the defense is letting everything in. So, like, if you're a Bengals fan, this has got to be a mega frustrating way to start the year where you can't put it all together to get a W, but they're not going 0-4. Not a chance.
Okay. Well,
I hope you're wrong.
I'm going with Carolina regardless.
Oh, good Lord.
I need to make up some ground. I'm like 3 from the bottom right now, but I'm also like 5 from the top. So I need to make a bold pick.
In the pick'ems at your work, you're like, I'm gonna do the stupidest thing possible, and then
week 1 killed me. Week 1 killed me. Yeah, week 1 I was just trashed. So Usually I'm in like the top 4 until like week 6, and then things kind of taper off. Well, I started awful this year, so I gotta make like one bold pick a week, and that's gonna be my bold pick, because the rest of the games, like there's a ton of games that are just, I mean, again, a ton of coin tosses this week. So anyway,
I just want to use this as a word of caution for our young viewers out there. When you get to gambling age and you think back to our show and you think to yourself, hey, when you're down, the best thing to do is make a really stupid pick and go further down. So thank you, Ryan, for saving our young viewers from a life of disappointment in their gambling endeavors.
You know what? It's got to be somebody to do it. So I'm happy to be that person. So I'm assuming Matt is like super prepared for our next segment because, well, he knows everything. We're gonna get into and I have a button for this one now, so hopefully I get this right. Nope, I got it wrong.
Here we go! Here we go!
Little Dak Prescott. Here we go, music. So I just, man, every time it's like the new Omaha. I just got the wrong button. I was trying to do it twice. I think I'd remember what the button was after I just press it. I'm gonna see myself out. Thank you very much.
Big gulps, eh?
Big gulps. Well, see you later. You're not allowed in that conversation. That's a me and Maddie thing. Anyway. Matt, I'm going to put you on the spot. Who is going to be your first random NFL player name?
Jason Sehorn.
I just love how he just pulls it out like, all right, you win.
I'm going to attempt a theme on this one, but pretty solid defensive player for a long time. In a position you don't find many Jason Sehorns in. If you know what I'm saying. I don't think there's been more than 3 or 4 Jason Sehorns since then, because most of the Jason Sehorns aren't fast enough as the scouting would normally come. The white defensive back just doesn't exist that often, and I don't know if it ever will. Like that is just straight up a fact. But he was great.
Jason Sehorn.
Wow. You know what? I move for emotion that Matt starts this segment every single week, because like I've got players that people have probably forgotten the names of. I'm trying to make some fun themes. Jason Sehorn, are you for real right now? Like, just like, okay.
You're just like going to the river, like, oh, I found a few more gold nuggets in the river here. Don't mind me. And we're just like, I got some fool's gold. That's good. That's good, right? Steve,
like, I'm panning over here with a bucket with a hole in the bottom of it, and Matt's got his little screw over there. Jeez.
Dusting everything
I
off.
got a theme too, guys, but it's really not as cool as that.
I actually also went with the theme, so this could be fun. Go ahead.
You know what? My theme started with this guy, and then I thought that too many people would know the name of the second guy, and then the third guy was really hard to think of. So, anyways, my first guy, Antonio Cromartie.
Oh,
good choice.
I see.
Very
where
underrated defensive back. My theme was going to be guys with an absurd amount of children, and then like Phillip Rivers was on the docket, and then the only other one I could really think was like Drew Brees, and I was like, that everybody's remembered those two guys' names, but Antonio Cromartie, great defensive back, not white, could run fast, long, lengthy. Loved having him in Madden 09. Great player to have.
Good choice.
Too bad there wasn't a last name in the, because then you could have done Dante Hall as your last one to be Kids in the Hall reference as a total.
Yeah,
that's like a deep cut, but I went there. I like Cromartie. I liked him. He was a lot of fun. I think I almost think there was a time where I actually almost bought his jersey. This was like
why?
Like I don't know. I was playing a lot of Madden, and he's doing well for me. And I'm like, I need to, because he was on the Chargers, was he not? Yeah.
Well, he's a Jet forever too.
Jet and
but he
Chargers,
was, anyway,
I think a couple other places.
So I think that's where I saw him the most, was on the Chargers. Okay, I've got one. This is going to be a name that you will remember, but you probably have forgotten for a little while. Actually had a documentary, I think a 30 for 30, if I'm not mistaken. Sticky Ricky Williams, 10,000 rushing yards. Personality for days. I saw him play live in the CFL. when I moved to Vancouver. It's a 60-minute show, so I'm basically going to stop there. Bottom line, Ricky Williams was awesome, and if you got to see the guy play, he had like multiple parts of his career that were awesome, regardless of when he retired or was suspended or whatever. He still stuck it out and actually put up some decent yards and some points too. So Ricky Williams is my first choice.
Baltimore Ravens legend right there.
I mean, he's a few people's legend.
Yeah, very almost forgotten about fact that he actually played some years in the Ravens.
There you go. Matthew?
My number 2 is Marquette King. Even more rare than the white corner is a black kicker.
Jeez.
Where do you?
It's just one theme. It's dudes you don't see in those positions very often. It's just a fact
I
of
feel
life.
like I maybe know where number 3 is going, but I don't want to preface that. But this is going to be a great theme.
You're clutch, buddy.
Yeah, I don't have backstory outside of that. It's just
that's literally
that is a predominantly white position in the NFL.
Have a lot of really cool like punter celebrations. You don't really see a lot of punter celebrations, so shout out to Marquette King for trying to put some respect on the punter's name.
Respect on their name.
Hey, kickers are people too.
Some say that.
Some would say that. Steve, you're obviously next.
All right, another guy I really like trading for in Madden 09 shares a last name with my first player, Dominique Rogers-Cromartie. Really good. Had some really, good ball skills. You could play man-to-man coverage. I like throwing a lot of blitzes at people, so I was like, I need some guys that I can just stick out on an island over there. Darrelle Revis, way too expensive as a 99 overall. Could never afford him. So who would I go for? I would pair Cromartie and Cromartie together. Couple 80, I think they were like 85, 86. Both really good in man coverage. And I would just be like, oh yeah, here are your quarterbacks, the Cromarties / Rogers-Cromartie.
Yeah, I like that. You could almost have like a show based on that even.
The
I don't know what you call it. Cromarties. Probably just Cromarties. This one, I'm actually surprised that I haven't even gone here yet, but might as well get it out of the way. Get this one off the list. He's an Ole Miss alum. Pretty sure I saw him score 3 touchdowns in a random game in college. Loved his game and was one of those few guys once he got to the NFL. Wide receiver, running back combo. He was a bit of both. And you could start him at either, and it was awesome. Dual position guy. Ultimately, more of a special teamer, but he did have flashes of awesome. And oh yeah, he played for the Argonauts too. I'm talking about Dexter McCluster, baby. Yeah. I've got his jersey. I'm probably the only other person that has it, aside from Chiefs Dexter McCluster jersey, and I wear it proudly. It is part of who I am as a person. And if it wasn't for Jody Fortson coming on later in life, I would still say he's probably one of my favorite football players. And I follow him on Instagram. Seems like a pretty cool dude. Dexter McCluster. Can't go wrong.
Is he going to be on the show later on in the season?
Man, I've been trying.
Carter.
Also a great advocate for not texting and driving. If you ever remember that rap video he made. Don't text and drive. Sick.
Like it's just the hits just keep coming.
You remember that? Right?
I do. Yeah. I gotta find that clip. We need to repost that because that is equally as good as the reference of it coming back. So just the knowledge of it, I think almost gets honorary mention in that segment. Matt, your final guy for today.
It's not as uncommon, but the white running back is not typically common. So we're going to go with one of the greats in Toby Gerhart.
Oh, you're a curveball there. Wow.
Former Jacksonville Jaguar / Minnesota Viking.
Yeah.
One of the great disappointments of my fandom as a Vikings fan, that's for sure.
Yeah, he was talked up a bit, wasn't he?
Yeah, he also is the only autographed jersey card that I own.
Wow.
You know what? That was a huge curveball there because I've been talking Madden. I could see you like looking at me, and I'm like, oh, this is like it. We didn't talk about this, and I saw Peyton Hillis coming out of your mouth, and I was like, this is just it's too easy of a setup. So well done on the curveball there.
Thank you. I actually had him teed up, but then I remembered for some reason Toby Gerhart.
You know what's so great about you, Matt? You just kind of look off the screen a little bit, and then you just absolutely pull a rabbit out of your hat for every single pick. And just like we have no idea, and you just make it look so nonchalant. I love that. It's great.
Thank you. Off screen is actually where I keep my rabbits. So
oh, nice.
I'm wearing my hat.
And the list, if we actually went to your house, do you have a list for next week of all the players you're about to name next week?
Yeah, it's on my ceiling.
Okay, that's cool. Good to know.
That's what I'm doing wrong.
Four lights on the ceiling. That's what I got. An event. It's not as exciting.
What are you doing to the ceiling in a Sharpie? Matt told me I had to. Okay, he's really good at this new segment we're doing, so I just wrote them on the ceiling.
Did you literally spend $110 on a ladder to this? I did also that. Yes.
Next week, you'll see a ladder right behind me.
Yeah, not good with money. Steve, who's your final one?
So my last one, one of my favorite all-name team candidates, also one of my favorite 09 Madden cornerbacks to get. If I was gonna spend the capital in terms of draft picks and players from my existing team, I was going all in on Nnamdi Asomugha. So like he got overshadowed by the Revis Island. Everything was about Darrell Revis, but Nnamdi Asomugha is the reason you become a defensive football fan. And he was just so silky smooth to watch. Unfortunately, his career kind of got wasted away in Oakland for so many losing seasons. But Nnamdi. So
he was fast.
I wouldn't say he was like a burner by any means, but he was just one of those. In 09-10, there was like a type of corner other than Revis. Maybe this is why he got so much accolades for being so great. The corners then were these tall, long, like extra length, extra reach kind of guys, and that's more of like what Nnamdi's style was. Really fun to watch.
So you went with the Madden 09 corners.
Madden 09 corners that I wanted on my team all the time.
There you go. I like it. So, as you can tell, I've already picked two players that have played for the Toronto Argonauts. Well, there's a third player. There's a few more, but there's a third player that would put himself on this list. Played for the Chiefs. Got some time with the Niners. As a CFLer, he had 6 1,000-yard plus seasons. Saw time in the end zone regularly. Like I said, he was an Argo. And he won a Grey Cup with the British Columbia Mountain Lions, or as we call them, the BC Lions. He's got a number on his jersey and a bit of a character, too. Like to talk. Arlen Bruce III is my final pick there. It's such a Canadian show. Like, who are these guys? So, yeah, I couldn't believe it. But there was somehow a handful of NFL, CFL combos that actually were worth talking about. So Arlen Bruce was definitely more well-known in the CFL than he was in the NFL. But regardless, he did play for the Chiefs and Niners and, like I said, special teams. So it was one of those weird ones that I don't even know how I got where I got. But after the Ricky Williams one, things just started to unravel. And I realized they all played for the Argonauts, which is a really weird thing to say. But we got there. We got there in one piece. The wheels are still on. So there you go. So that is, remember the name. I'm looking forward to next week. I almost don't even want to come up with names. We should just give Matt all of our 3 each and just let him come up with 9.
Matt gets 9 slots.
Yeah. You okay with that, Matt? I think his microphone keeps cutting out or something. He's having some problems over there.
Yeah, he on the mute.
That's okay.
He's so above us that he doesn't even have to talk.
Like, we know what he's going to say. And rightfully so. He's probably texting. My screen is frozen. That's fine.
Back in and out.
We'll be fine. You just come back in. Like, you're moving on our screen. There you go. Nice. Well, I guess it's time. Am I going to get the button right? We're going to preview the button again. We're going to also do this one.
Here we go! Here we go! Here we go!
Time for THNO stars. The reason that you guys all showed up for the show. We got some good ones this week. In fact, we actually left some off the table. There was so much to choose. I left your first one in, just so you know. So, because I didn't get I don't think I had a redo on that, or if we did, I missed it. So you're going with the name of our show today, just so you know.
Yep.
Because I didn't get a second one. Matt, if you want to let me know, I can find your video. So Steve, you can go first. Who's your THNO for week 3?
Yeah, you know what? I hummed and hawed about this one because last week I went with the O lineman. We had the whole thing of like, make the toilet bowl person in your league, start an O lineman. Well, guess what? You could have had another O line touchdown. Like, anyways, I didn't go with that. I didn't even notice it was going to, but I'm going with Johnny Mundt. We got a case of the
Willis,
Mundt-days.
pressure comes, swings it to Wilson. He's got
Wrong one. Sorry, I was trying to do the other video. Don't mind me. I'm just trying to do stuff in the background.
Brian is just so good at this.
I'm trying to make this show happen. Jeez Louise. Okay, who is it again?
Johnny Mundt. So you got Pro Bowler Sam Darnold, can literally get anyone a touchdown. He's turned week 1 THNO star and teammate of Johnny Mundt into a pretty good weekly flex option in Jalen Naylor. Can he do the same thing with Mundt? I sure hope not. Feed Justin Jefferson the rock. It's why we play the game, to win. If you have Aaron Jones Sr. on your team, if you have Justin Jefferson, you were seething mad when Pro Bowl Sam Darnold showed that he can pass anyone the rock, and he gave the rock to Johnny Mundt, which helped no one.
Shotgun. Darnold in a crowd. It's caught. Johnny Mundt. Touchdown. Vikings.
And he's
Can I
just
say something?
kissing your fantasy football weeks goodbye. He's like, yeah, and you don't get a win, and you don't get a... Guess what, Johnny Mundt? I got 2 wins this week, so you couldn't even hurt me. But
That was a pretty sick catch, you got to admit. Like, those are quick hands. In coverage, made that catch. That was impressive.
I'm telling you guys, Sam Darnold is playing at a high freaking level. Like, he throws that into double coverage, just balls the size of grapefruits to do that. But his confidence is at an all-time high. Great catch, way better throw into double coverage for a touchdown. That's a great play.
I liked it. Those, like I said, great catch, quick hands. You got to love it. I'm up next, and then we'll get Maddie's here. This guy, he's unowned. Obviously, nobody wants him. In his senior year in college, ESPN had him as the number 1 tight end prospect. He is in his 8th season. Like, this is deep dive, folks. I went all out this week. His last touchdown was 1 catch, 11 yards with the Saints in 2021. 2021, we were still wearing masks. That's crazy. He's last on the Titans tight end depth chart. And speaking of fantasy relevance, the only people that might find him useful still are the ones that own the golden bikini. Keep those scones, headbands away from my team, please. And this is where I play the clip. I'm talking about Nick Vanette.
See, Levis to the air, to the end zone, touchdown, Nick Vanette, his first touchdown since
Yeah. There wasn't even a long enough clip to tell you what happened there. Just such a shame. Such a shame that they're finally, giving points to a few players on the Titans. My coworker is a huge Titans fan. Life isn't good for her right now. So life isn't good for anybody when Nick Vanette is catching touchdowns. But yeah, he was a pretty good player coming out of college 8 years ago. Fun fact. Matthew, fire away, buddy. I'm going to make sure I get my screen share going too.
Sure. Yeah. Emmanuel Wilson is my pick.
That's a good
backup
pick.
running back for the Packers. Not a team that you would ever handcuff running backs for. But Josh Jacobs has not been quite expected. I don't know if Love being out has hurt him or Malik Willis just running constantly hurts that. But Wilson had, what do you got? 85 combined yards and touchdown, 15 points. He had 12 fantasy points last year as a year.
And he got all
And
that
15.
on Sunday.
Yeah, he's gone for 5.9 and 15. So, yeah, I mean, out of the blue, we'll see if he might be one of those sleepy ads if Jacob still isn't touching it.
Okay, we're gonna try to get this going here. Window. I've got a lot going on here, folks. Bear with me. We're gonna get to my Twitter page. Apparently, there's two people hugging. It's kind of weird. We're gonna go back to Emmanuel.
Possibilities of AI. There you go.
Yeah, there's lots.
This is going to show Ryan's algorithm right here.
Pressure coming. Swings it to Wilson. He's got blockers in front. Wilson inside the 20. A convoy in front.
You guys
Wilson
see that?
all the way in for his first NFL touchdown.
There you go. Did everybody see that?
Yeah, it showed.
Yeah.
That was huge.
Right on. That's all that matters. You come late, that's what you get. Oh my gosh.
Fair.
We're gonna stop
Super
that
fair.
screen. Emmanuel Wilson. So yeah, thanks guys. There was Steve. I was gonna give you two, but you didn't have a write up in there. What else did we have to look to?
Look at this guy. He tells me I have two for a different one. He goes, "That's cheating, Steve." Dad and
say
me
that.
over here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't even remember who it was. To be fully
We had an O
honest.
lineman, right? Was it Chiefs O lineman? No.
No, that was Wanya Morris last week. Maybe
What Commanders? Commanders had an O lineman.
yeah.
Whatever.
Just goes
Okay.
to show you anybody can get it.
That's true.
Jaden Daniels' first career touchdown throw to an O lineman. Imagine the trivia opportunity.
Oh, I didn't know that was his
5 to
first
10
one.
years. Yeah, they asked him who was going to keep the ball. I am.
He's like, dude, you're gonna throw at least a few more touchdowns. This guy's never gonna touch the football again, probably in his life, unless Dak Prescott is his quarterback and is about to get a safety in the end zone. And he just passes it to an O lineman, and they somehow
Here we
don't.
go! Here we go!
That guy.
I don't know if you guys
That's
saw that.
impressive.
We should have had that at the start docket.
Oh, the Dak Prescott thing?
Did you see it? Did you watch?
No.
Oh.
I missed it. Sorry.
He was very clearly in the end zone, going down, like almost knees touching, and he basically like shovel passes it to an O lineman, and they don't call it a safety. They call it like an illegal forward pass or something. Like that was that thing I sent you guys of Kyle Van Noy being like, I was this years old when I found out that if you're going to
right.
safety, you just pass it to an O lineman out of the end zone, and then Lamar comments on it. He's like, that
That's
would have
what
been a
that was.
safety
Okay.
if it was me. I
Yeah,
love
no
that kind of
kidding.
humor. He's just like, yeah, that would have happened if it was me, but I'm going to make fun of this.
Or like the pass interference in the Chiefs game. But anyway, let's get into sneaky starts. We're gonna keep rolling with you, Steve. You're on a roll here. Who is your sneaky start this week?
You know what? I don't like a lot of pressure with that, right? I just talked about, under promising, over delivering, but hey, when you're hot, you're hot. My question to you is, are you looking for some fantasy strange?
Every week.
Every week, some of you might be.
Every week.
looking
My
for-
wife doesn't watch the show, so absolutely.
Is it also a sneaky start for your fantasy football team? That would be the difference in those two questions.
Oh,
Look no further than a Jaguar tight end. Started in less than 30% of leagues. His snap share is there. His targets are there. I'm going to keep going back to the tight ends until they stop being a crapshoot, because I'm always looking for someone, right? Like I've got Dallas Goedert in a couple leagues. He's going to get me 1 point, or he's going to get me 27 points just kind of out of nowhere. Next week, Buffalo is allowing about the same amounts the same amount of points to tight ends this year as he put up a TD on them. So trust in your search for some Strange. If you're looking for a tight end, if you're looking for a flex option, Brenton Strange is going for back-to-back touchdowns in consecutive weeks.
You've got some history with Mr. Strange, if you remember correctly from season 3.
There we go. I was waiting for that. I feel now like every person I put in there, Ryan's like hitting like Control F on the Google Doc. He's like, yeah, so Brenton Strange is coming. What season did I have him in?
So season 3, week 7. Brenton Strange. I'm going to read your little write up here. He was. Yeah. So I just, because I got it pulled up here, we're taking you to a weird world today, a desperate place of the earth, if you will. Shout out to Jags minority owner Tony Khan for engaging in a meaningless Twitter exchange, which you should totally.
Right.
When it was X, used to be Twitter, Jags tight end Brenton Strange, 0%. He does have 0.7 fantasy points coming into the week, but for now, he helps no one. And now you're telling people to start him.
You know what? We started in a strange world. A little bit of context. I don't know if Matt ever was a part of that. Back when it was Twitter, there was like some comment. Tony Khan was on Twitter and he was always on there. Yeah. And I'd just thrown out this random comment about how, like, man, this reeks of desperation. And Tony Khan is just retweeting me, quote tweeting me, like getting into it. And I've got all of Duval County just hating me for like a harmless comment about how Tony Khan is like mega desperate. But look, if you're desperate for a tight end this week, THNO star turned sneaky start. Could he be the next Najee Harris, where we look back at this and say, what? How was Brenton Strange sneaky? He is a bona fide starting tight end in the league. I hope that statement never comes true.
We keep receipts here. So I'm going to go next on this one. I'm going to get rid of my search because that's going to screw up what I'm actually trying to read here.
Did you type Fantasy Strange into your search engine? No, that was a joke, Ryan. Joke.
Like I said, Strange. You didn't have to type in fantasy. Neither of those.
Reference, not like literally go type that into your computer, dummy.
Guys, I've hit on incognito. It's fine. Incognito, whatever. Missed the G. So 73% owned, 23% started. His targets more than doubled from weeks 1 or 2, from 6 to 14. So Steve knows all about the targets when it comes. That's when he's looking for the next big start. Well, I've got one for you. Deontay Johnson. So here's the thing. He racked up 122 yards with a touchdown last week. I actually do see him getting the ball spread out even more now with some injuries. Xavier Legette might even get a sneaky second option. But I'm only talking about one guy's Deontay. Now, as of Monday night, last night, we all found out that Adam Thielen is out for a little bit. So now, instead of a sneaky start, this is a must start. Now, I know they're playing the Bengals. However, we do not know what we're going to get against the Bengals. We do know that Andy Dalton seems to be the quick answer in Carolina, and he's found his target. Therefore, if we do some boy math, lots of targets, lots of yards and a touchdown, lots of injuries, he is the guy. You're probably going to get 10 points by accident this week because he's going to be their main guy. He's probably going to get 10 catches or at least targeted at least 10 times. You can't go wrong on this. This is one of those times where I actually fluked out 2 days early and the story got even better. So go start Deontay Johnson. Steelers fans, sorry about that.
Can you imagine that Ryan, just guys that are playing or have played for the Steelers, Ryan just
I'm not even a Steelers fan.
This was a guy that was keeper material not too long ago, and Ryan is telling you to start them. So just keep that in mind. How well did that work for Najee Harris? He doesn't get a lot of touches anymore. So
it's
as the kids like to say.
That's before we knew what the show was. Okay. We didn't know how that segment was going to work.
Sure.
He was a rookie. It made sense at the time. I stand by what I said. I stand by what I said. I'm not backing down. I got receipts. Everybody's got receipts. Go check the clips. I know what I said. I'm not backing down. Fine. Matt, who do you got?
First of all, shout out Brenton Strange. I picked him up this week and started him, so that was great for me.
Yes.
Had to do a last minute Taysom
You-
Hill drop.
This was last week or this week?
This week 3.
Okay.
Let's
Okay.
go.
Wow.
Also, shout out last week. My THNO star was Oshevis. I don't know.
He had a
exactly
big
how to
day
pronounce
too.
his name, but this is now 13 point and 12 point, and he was getting a lot of targets last night. I think he's probably has the potential to move T. Higgins out of that 2 spot for the Bengals. They should be able to put up a 40 spot, regardless of how poor they play on Carolina. I think he's, probably safe for 10 points. I would be starting him in a wide out 3 or flex.
I'm just looking for Matt's team
Is
here.
that your start,
That's my start.
Andy? Or is it Andre? Right, Andre.
Yeah, Andre.
Brenton Strange.
Yeah,
He started him.
I did.
Look at that.
One handily because I had Derrick
Yeah.
Henry and Kieran. But whatever.
Wow.
I like how you one-handedly and your team name is Pen 15 Club.
It's a great name every time. I'm a child. So, grow up.
Shut up. That's swell. That's swell. I love it. Let's get into the sleepy ads part of the show. We're all still awake. It's 9:30 on Pacific time. Matt, let's just keep it rolling, buddy. Just keep going. Who's your ad?
Yeah, I don't know if it's super sleepy, but Wan'Dale Robinson. I think anybody on the Giants' offense would be considered sleepy because their whole offense is as such. But he's getting target after target after target.
Right.
You can't deny targets, in the words of Stephen Fisher.
It's
Yeah.
You know what? You can't put up points if they're not looking your way for the ball. So pretty simple math. And
Okay, just before I meant Matt, who was your start again? Sorry.
Andre Ivocious.
Okay, just making sure. I
the
thought you said someone else. I'm like,
number,
well, that's
number
gonna-
80 from the Bengals.
Appreciate it. Steve, you know what? You might as well go for it.
Okay, so obviously watching Ravens, Cowboys, he may have had a garbage time, lots of garbage time looks action, which then turned out to not be garbage time. But Dak seems to be in sync with Jalen Tolbert.
Yeah.
It is very apparent after watching that game that Dak and CD are not seeing eye to eye. CD is mega frustrated. I think he had 2 drops in the game where like they were bad drops where it was like, okay, that's a first down. Oh, wow. He dropped the ball. And a quarterback, like he's still going to get the ball. But when Dak is looking for that other reliable guy, even Brandon Cooks seemed to not be running the right routes. Jalen Tolbert seemed to be the guy that was there. And we know from Dak's time with many different receivers, it's kind of flavor of the week, but he always has enough throws to kind of spread the ball out to a minimum of 3 receivers. So Jalen Tolbert's that third guy. I would even say he's kind of like a 2A and 2B with Brandon Cooks, and their running game is cooked itself. Like, I was actually playing this person, and they started Zeke Elliott in the year 2024. Wild, because Dallas has absolutely no running game. So I think Dak's going to keep looking Jalen Tolbert's way. Fun little thing. I actually started him this last week too. So I had Jawan Jennings and I had Jalen Tolbert on the same team. He's only owned in 11% of sleeper leagues. So he's out there. He's available. I'm sure you've got a guy like, Zeke Elliott, where you can just cut him from existence. Pick up a guy like Jalen Tolbert. See what he's going to become. I think, especially for a guy like me who like I still don't think I'm really going to do any damage in the league because of lack of depth. He had 5 targets last game against Baltimore. He had 9 targets against New Orleans. His playing time is over 75% in the last 2 weeks. So he's going to see the field. He's going to get looks. Jalen Tolbert.
I like it. And you've got another one I'll let you run with in a second.
Yeah, I'll do that.
Time for Ryan. I've been giving you guys fire all night on this show. Some of it you're going to remember for tomorrow and you're going to be making fun of me. Some of it you're going to be like, Ryan, thank you so much for that information. My fantasy teams are now better, and it's because of you. This is an easy one, and we've talked about it already this week. I've gone off the Sean McVay train. I'm on a new team now. I am cheering for the success of the Carolina Panthers. Andy Dalton, listen, he's been around the block. His hair still looks incredible, like incredible. I was watching. You saw it. I saw it. It was great. Panthers might not actually suck like we all thought. I mean, they could still suck, but just run with me here. And Andy could still be drinking from the fountain of youth. He has the Bengals, the Bears, the Falcons, and the Commanders coming up, and he could make a few players fantasy relevant as soon as next week. Trade Bryce Young for another wideout and let Andy cook. I like what's going on there. I know it's 1 week, but it's funny. You can ride the wave a little bit, and I'm not telling you to start him, but I'm telling you to add him. You might need a guy like Andy Dalton. Maybe you're in a 2 QB league. This is going to work out well for you. You're welcome. Listen, I'm not buying in to the Carolina Panthers just yet, but I'm telling you to maybe get an appetizer of them and find out if they're kind of not for real, but like there's going to be some points to be given there. So go add Andy Dalton. Start him if you're desperate. You might be desperate. I've been there. We know the depths that we go to. We know the trash that we scrape and eat because we have to. Andy Dalton. Andy Dalton's my pick for this week. He's my head.
Turntables have turned. Holy. Are the Carolina Panthers going to be the worst team in the league? I'm right on the success of the Carolina Panthers. You know what? That was enough to laugh at you, but hold on a second. I read ahead as you were doing it, and I was just shaking my head, and we are going to keep the receipt for this one. Quote, trade Bryce Young for another wideout.
Yep, that's right.
I don't even know if you're talking about real football or fantasy football. If you're absurd in either category, like...
Listen, I was a couple deep when I wrote that part. So
a couple of bottles deep, like holy moly!
I can't remember if I meant fantasy or reality, but you know what? You take the good.
We got about 7 minutes until we're at our hour cap. Let's play the what if train, Ryan. Okay, you got a real NFL franchise. You've got a first overall pick who's been benched for being terrible by all accounts. Please tell me what wide receiver you think they are getting.
I don't know. I'm not a GM. I'm a fantasy GM. I don't know the good stuff. Okay.
There's the what if question. So now I have Bryce Young on my team. Which wide receiver are you giving to me if I offer you a trade for Bryce Young right now?
Jalen Tolbert.
There you go.
No way. No one makes that trade right now. No one makes that trade.
They're not going to trade him. I'm trying to get people to watch the show, Steve. Clearly, they're not going to trade first overall pick 3 weeks into the season. I mean, it's possible.
Plus another season.
But right, yeah, yeah, it's possible. Sorry, I forgot about last year.
Now, I was really hoping you were going to go down the NFL train because we've actually seen a lot of top picks, like first overall picks, second overall picks, who have been released, traded, things like that. Like I'm thinking Jared Goff, I'm thinking Carson Wentz, I'm thinking Jameis Winston, Marcus Mariota. You're not actually like out to lunch with that. It would be really interesting to see if they, essentially pack it all in by trading him away to get something and to make like a new.
They won't get a receiver. I'm just kidding around. Obviously, that's not a position you should actually go and trade for him. But that would be stupid. So
like what value you'd get for him, considering Oh, Sam Darnold's another like really good example for that, right? Like he's like rejuvenating his career. Geno Smith is rejuvenating his career. Jared Goff is rejuvenating his career. There's a GM dumb enough out there to trade something of value to get a guy like that, and we just don't know who it is quite yet.
It's always amazing though when you do see those trades and you're thinking like, okay, this guy's proven to suck. Like he has proven that he can't do the job that they brought him in to do. And it's not like it's a scheme. It's not like it's him. Usually it's the guy, right? Most of the time. And you're at this point, like if you're Bryce Young, you're like, what am I going to do? Like I'm on the team right now, but there's going to be a point where they got to think like, hey man, this is it. And then you're thinking like, how many guys, I mean, he'll get an opportunity somewhere, but that's it. His career might,
I don't know if his career,
my friend.
Yeah, I don't know if his career's done, but like, I don't think he plays in
it's going to be
Carolina
very
Panthers. How do you become the face of the franchise and you get benched for the Red Rocket and you're like, oh, hey, cool, he's struggling. I'd love to step in for you guys right now. Oh, he got injured. I'd love to step in for you guys. Like,
yeah, and hearing from Coach that this isn't the last we'll see of him is not going to instill a lot of confidence.
Is that what was said?
Yeah, if we'll see him in 2 weeks, okay, this isn't the last we'll see of him is extraordinarily vague, which probably means this is the last we'll see of him.
I didn't hear about that. That's shocking.
So Andy Dalton, go add Andy Dalton, folks.
Yeah, he's at least going to be a starter for this season. Like 2 quarterback leagues, go for it. Yeah,
have at it. Eat up, Steve. You got one more guy. Now this isn't. I want to preface this.
I'm not gonna collect receipts or anything like that for saying add this. This is a reminder. This is the injury trainer reminder. And it kind of goes along with the Jawan Jennings thing. If Debo's going to be out for a while, Ricky Pearsall in sleeper leagues only rostered in 21%, in Yahoo leagues just 11%. There was a report that came out, I think it was at the middle last week, maybe, that he is running full routes at practice. He seems to be running full speed. No contact yet. He was shot. I think it was in the chest too. So I think they're probably going to be a little cautious about maybe he does like a week of non-contact this week. So I don't expect him to play this week, but it wouldn't be out of the realm for him to be playing in week 5. The reason why I'm bringing it up is if you wait too long on these things and it's like, oh, he was full at practice, you're going to see 11 and 21% go up to like 80+% in no time. So
that was start. What's his, you were saying that he's, or not. It's not started. You were saying those are rostered. Sorry, I was thinking
those are rosters. So like he's very available in those 2 leagues, and you just want to make sure you get those types of players. First round pick, looked good in preseason. He's gonna get a ton of looks. Like this could be the end if he comes back in. It could be the end of Jawan Jennings if he looks as good as advertised. Like Jennings might be more of that, true 6 to 8 kind of point player. And you could see Ricky Pearsall kind of taking in 12 to 14 points in a PPR league or a half PPR league, the week in and week out. But you want to make sure you get these types of guys before the mad rush for them. And so when a guy's back at full speed practice, the next thing he needs is some contact practices, and he's going to be back out on the field in no time. So pick up Ricky Pearsall.
Yeah, that's a reminder. It's nothing you don't know, but stay focused. Stay focused.
It's nothing you don't notice, but if he's still available in that many leagues, like it'll be interesting. Most waiver wires, I think, end on Tuesday, and all the claims come in Wednesday. So it'll be interesting to wake up tomorrow morning and see how big of the spike that really is. Because I would anticipate it's a pretty big spike now.
I had him. I drafted him in Matt in the Family Feud League, and sure enough, he gets shot. I'm like, well, I was reading. I'm like, this isn't real, is it? And I'm looking like, great. He's the only guy I do actually have to drop because we only have one bench spot in that league. So I was like, I have to drop him because I can't keep him. He's not going to be playing for at least 4 weeks. So that was a tough one. That was my first big boy moment. And I'm like, all right, I guess I gotta eat this one. So not fun when you have to drop a guy like that when you're excited that you drafted him and he was going to be. I mean, geez, I had McCaffrey as well, and he's been out. So it's been a tough go over in the Family Feud League this season, but I'll survive. So yeah, go get some Ricky Pearsall shares out there, folks. Any final words from you, Maddie?
No, I don't think so. I did drop Rome, and I traded Terry McLaurin this week. So those were 2 really good decisions for a combined 40 points for receivers. So,
oof, that's a tough one. That is a tough one. And Maddie,
he just left.
He's like, I'm gonna check out on the Wi-Fi. Steve, any final words with you, my friend?
No, just stay diligent out there, folks. The more you pay attention, the more good things happen. The more you go out, say hunting on a Sunday morning and you forget to check your, injury things, and you're going to make some stupid starts. So learn from the mistakes, and hopefully you don't continue to make those silly mistakes.
Yeah, play stupid games, win stupid prizes. Internet. Right. He's like, there we go. He knew how to leave. Matt knew how to finish it off. I believe we have some good news for next week's show.
Let's go.
We've been waiting.
Are we allowed to announce it? Are we announcing it?
I mean, he's kind of said
Put him on the spot. Put him on the spot.
So our boy Ted, I think he's ready to come back. He's coming off IR. Heart.
He was literally on the pup.
Yeah, he was.
He missed the first 4 games of the season.
He was literally physically unable to play.
Yeah.
I think he's getting into some of his rehab stuff this week with out at the gym, which is, if anybody knows Ted, like the guy, he likes the gym, not because he's a gym rat, just because loves to work out, likes to feel healthy. So we're excited to not only see him. He was at a few ball games this weekend. It was awesome to see him in person, but you're going to get to see his glowing face and one more person that can roast me on the show. Ted's back next week. We need to have some kind of a video.
The boys are back in town.
Yeah, I got nothing else to do. I'm sure I could figure out a cool video to make. So
lots of cool poses of him.
Oh, this
where he's like staring at the chair.
Oh man, those pictures, I can bring those back in a heartbeat.
I'm sure, you know what, Matt, at Matt F Photography.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure he's got some gems stowed away for us to give Ted his very deserving welcome back to the show.
Oh, it's gonna be a bloodbath.
Because we love him, but like this show is all about like taking your lumps, and guess what?
Yeah,
welcome back, bud.
It's gonna be unfortunate. He's gonna hate it, and we're gonna love it. And I cannot wait to help lead the charge. So yeah, I believe we will see our good boy Teddy Wong III back on THNO next week. I cannot wait. We need that content. He's gonna probably talk about why the Browns suck again. We'll get into Deshaun Watson. We'll probably get into all the reasons. Myles Garrett and his 2 broken feet that he's still playing with. The dude's an absolute baller. We're going to get into all that next week. I cannot wait. So, on behalf of Maddie, who very cleanly left, like that's probably one of the best exits we've had. We got Steve. We got Ryan. This is That Helps No One Fantasy Cast on the Area 51 Network, Sports Network. Area 51 Network. Good luck this week. Hope you win. I do. Andy Dalton. Don't forget Andy Dalton. See you, Bryce Young. Peace out.